I'm Alex Radcliffe, CMO of Gamefound, and it feels a little crazy to say this, but the first quarter of 2025 is already gone. It feels like just yesterday 2025 happened. I finally gotten used to putting that 5 at the end of every little date that I write, and here we are, and a quarter of the year is already over. And it's been a busy year so far. We've had a ton of exciting projects on the platform. We have a bunch of exciting projects right now, from Reichbusters to Helldivers to Dungeons and Lasers and many, many more. But today is not about those projects. Today is about the next batch of projects you can expect to see. This is the Feast. We'll be going over more projects than we ever have before. I know I say that a lot, but it's definitely true this time. We have over 20 projects to go over. That's going to be a lot of things to capture your interest in all sorts of genres, from new games to expansions and reprints to RPGs to miniatures to board games. From the more thematic, the less thematic, we have a little bit of everything to keep you interested. So go ahead and settle back, grab some popcorn, maybe a coffee, and let's dive right into it. We're starting off strong with one of 2024's highest rated games on BoardGameGeek. Their first campaign on Gamefound already did tremendously well, and Andromeda's Edge is back with an expansion and reprint. The spiritual successor to Dwellings of Eldervale, which set a very high bar, a bar that Andromeda's Edge did manage to meet and exceed. Let's go ahead and talk to Peter from Cardboard Alchemy about what you can expect to see in this campaign. Peter, Andromeda's Edge has been incredibly well received, which I'm sure you're thrilled about. But for Genesis, what's new? What's being added to the game?
Well, we couldn't stop making stuff. Luke and Maximus wanted to create like new regions, new raiders, get all this. People have been asking for technology to control the raiders. They wanted to add a new way to score in the game. So there's a lot of everything.
So there's a lot more new content. What's the faction count at this point?
Well, it was 18. Now we're up to 21 with this expansion.
21. And you mentioned a new way of scoring. Like, what do you mean, and also why?
Well, there's a lot of scoring already in the game, and it's really competitive, and we love that when you're pushing up the tracks. So a lot of the new regions are going to focus on other ways to get up the progress tracks and additionally get a new way to score.
Okay. And for the campaign, for the original content of Andromeda's Edge, are backers able to get that, or is it more focusing on the new stuff?
Yeah, we want to make sure people can get... So everything we unlocked before will be available in terms of the deluxe edition and the add-ons, which is really great because there's a lot of people who've been asking. Yeah.
And does this fit in that box, or...?
Yes, everything fits in the box. We left just a little bit of room here and there for this reason.
Perfect. In the original campaign, you had this cool crossover for Flamecraft, which, speaking of which, obviously you do Flamecraft, you have a Flamecraft Duels campaign, anyone watching this, make sure to check that out as well. But you have these promos crossover where you had these dragons that went into the Andromeda's Edge universe. Are you planning anything like that this time around?
Yeah, that was really fun. Sandara Tang made the dragons on a starship. We still have all that content in the add-ons, and that spacecraft is going into the promos on Duels. But also, we wanted to make sure for Andromeda's Edge super fans, we have some accessories. So we're looking at a mat and a dice tower too, which is pretty exciting.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited for the campaign. Again, the original game's been incredibly well received. I'm very excited for you, how all your games have done. So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the support.
Andromeda's Edge has received incredibly high praise from Dice Tower, Shut Up and Sit Down, as well as many, many other sources. If you missed out on it until now, if you haven't had a chance to pick it up, this is definitely your chance, and you won't want to miss out. Our next campaign is coming to you off the heel of 15 movies, and that is Puppet Masters. Puppet Masters is a cult classic, and it's coming to your tabletop in this 1 to 4 player cooperative game of trying to survive these puppets. There's going to be 5 puppets in the core game, 2 in the expansion, and each puppet offers a degree of strongly asymmetric gameplay, giving you unique challenges, and you can choose a variable number of puppets to play against, allowing you to tailor the experience and difficulty to what you and your game group are looking for. Creep through the old hotel, while avoiding the puppets, and learning how to defeat them before they can resurrect your master and destroy you all. This game has a strong cat and mouse gameplay. It has a strong sense of cooperation and teamwork as you manage your hand of cards. A hand of cards is also your health, and the puppets are trying to steal them from you. This is a game you're not going to want to miss out on, but more importantly, it's a game you're not going to want to lose. From there, we have Terrorscape 2. Terrorscape is back, bringing you both the mechanics of this hidden movement game that have been so well received, but also, of course, keeping those 3D elements you've come to know and love, although this time it takes place in an Arctic station, so things will be a bit different there. It's going to have new maps, new killers, new survivors, all the things you can already expect, but also updates to the mechanics of the game. Previously in Terrorscape, survivors could win by either escaping or calling for help, but this time you can also fight back, completely changing the gameplay. And there's other ways to win as well, although they're not quite revealing that just yet. So make sure to follow the campaign if you want to find out as soon as they do. Our next campaign is another expansion and reprint, and this is Dawn of Madness: Sins of the Lost from Dimension Games. Sins of the Lost is going to be introducing a lot of new content, new monsters, new gameplay, sins, chasteners, epic terrors, all of that and more. As well as, of course, the ability to get any of the original content for the game. This is a game where every single character is entirely its own experience, its own backstory, fully immersing you into what's going on with their narrative. There's 4 in the core game, 8 total. There's going to be new audio available for them, as well as a new save system, as well as upgrade kits to get you caught up if you have the previous content for the game. They're aiming for a quick turnaround time. They're going to be jumping straight into production after the campaign, and there's also a follower gift on the page, so you might want to go ahead and check that out so you don't miss out. For our next project, Monster Fight Club is back with Borderlands. Specifically, Borderlands Mr. Torque's Arena of Badassery. That is a mouthful of a name. They are back with a ton of content, a loot crate worth of content for this game. There's so much to go through that let's go ahead and talk directly to Monster Fight Club about all the things you can expect to see in this campaign. Goody, from what I understand, there's a whole lot of things happening in this campaign. Could you break it out a bit more for us?
I'd be happy to. So anybody who missed out on the first campaign, you're not going to miss out on anything, because we are having Mr. Torque's Arena of Badassery, all of the previous expansions. And in addition to that, we're going to have 2 new expansions and a new entry point that I'm really excited to talk about.
Interesting. Can you tell us a bit more about what those? Let's start with one thing at a time. What's this new entry point?
So the new entry point is called the Invincible Arena, and it takes place in boss fights. So it introduces a new way to play the game. You're going to be taking on these epic fights. It's also at a more affordable price point. So if you're just getting into the game and just want to start on the light side, you can dive in there. In addition, if you're already familiar with the game, it creates a new gaming experience. So
interesting. And then what do the expansions add?
The 2 new expansions are Malawan Crime Busters and Torg's Forge Blast. And the Crime Busters, you run around solving clues, and that if you don't solve the clue, it's going to make the boss more powerful when you fight him. If you do solve the clue, it gives you an advantage during the fight. Torg's Forge Blast gives you a whole new industrial tiles.
Interesting. Can you give me an example of like what one of these interactions would look like?
Yeah, so conveyor belts is one of the new tiles, and that allows you to jump on the conveyor belt and move all the way down. So it's kind of like taking a free move. But in addition to moving differently, it's also the way that these tiles are used on building the map. So for example, in one scenario, it uses the conveyor belt as kind of like an elevator, so you can move up and down. Another one uses it as a rotating bridge. So they not only give you more movement flexibility, but the way that the maps are built around them, they feel totally different.
Perfect. Well, anything else people should know?
Another really neat feature is a loot crate. So if you buy all the goodies, you'll have a 1 storage solution that looks really badass. It looks like a loot crate in the Borderlands universe. Another really exciting thing that we are super excited to introduce is a new skirmish game called Into the Badlands. And this takes Borderlands out of the arena and allows you to run around on a map. The other really fun thing about this experience is in the Borderlands board game, you could only play Vault Hunters and you're fighting the enemies. In this game, you get to build a team of Vault Hunters, bandits. You can play a raid boss if you want to, and so it gives you a lot more flexibility on who you play and how you build your teams.
Perfect. Well, that's an absolute ton of things. To everyone watching, make sure to check out the campaign page for a whole lot more information and breakdown on this. And Goody, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So apparently, whether you missed out on the original game, are looking for expansion content, want a smaller, more affordable standalone game, or you want to branch off full off onto a miniatures experience, Monster Fight Club has something for you, so make sure to follow their campaign. Our next campaign is Sheol 2 Midnight Odyssey. Sheol is an exploration and tower defense game, as players leave the Citadel, create light paths, fight off enemies, and engage with the story in a 160-page campaign book. There's a whole lot going on here. You can get all the content from the original campaign. This is both a revised first edition as well as expansion content. Based on player feedback, there are some revisions, there's a change to the Citadel phase, and more of a focus on base building, and then the new content's going to have new missions, new playable characters, all of that and more. So whether you're coming in as an existing fan or someone new to the series, make sure to check out the campaign and follow along for more. Next up, we have the Dark Carnival Festival of the Forgotten. A 5e RPG setting, this is specifically designed as a mid-campaign, a short campaign adventure to throw at your party when they least expect it. Maybe some treasures going missing, maybe they stop understanding each other, whatever odd things happen to be going on, before you know it, you've whisked them away to the Dark Carnival, where you can engage in this interruption little mini-campaign. This campaign specifically features a full soundtrack and Dungeon Sith and barcode music to further enhance the world of the Dark Carnival. Our next campaign is Vampire the Masquerade Palermo Conspiracies. This is a standalone game on the Taboo system, allowing you to approach it either as a player who has already played Midnight Uprising, or as a player who is entirely new to the system, approaching it for the very first time. This is an entirely new story, new setting, new characters, new narratives. The first campaign had you as a newer vampire slowly growing in power, and this time you're an Archon, a stronger vampire investigating the disappearance of the prince and deciding the fate of the Masquerade. There'll also be a follower gift of a werewolf miniature on the campaign, so make sure to go ahead and check it out and see what the Palermo Conspiracies is bringing to your table. Next up, Sniper Elite is back with Operation Kraken and a reprint. Sniper Elite is the board game based on the video game series, allowing you to play in a tense hidden movement game of cat and mouse. The first game was incredibly well received and has been incredibly hard to get your hands on as well, which is one of the reasons they're bringing it back, as well as the new content. Let's go ahead and talk to Az from Rebellion Unplugged to find out more. Az, can you tell us a little bit about what people can expect to see out of this campaign?
Yeah, Alex, absolutely. So with the new Sniper Elite Operation Kraken campaign, we're going to be bringing one big new expansion with Operation Kraken that's going to be adding 2 brand new maps plus a host of new exciting modules and expansion elements such as vehicles, explosions, locked doors, and these 2 new maps are very, very unique and special, which is something we've never really done before, which I'll talk about more. And we're also adding in a second smaller expansion as part of the campaign called Escalation, which is a modular expansion, which means if this is your first time diving into Sniper Elite, you can play with it because it's usable with the base game or any of the other expansions in the range, and you can dip and dab into everything. And alongside the 2 new expansions, we're going to be reprinting everything from the original Sniper Elite 2000 and 2020 Kickstarter campaign. So we're bringing everything back that was on there. So if you're new to it, or you're actually looking for that more content because it's been out of print for a while, this campaign is going to offer you a little bit of everything.
Beautiful. And you say those 2 maps are fairly unique. In what ways are they? Like, what are they doing that's different from the existing maps?
Yeah, so anyone who's played Sniper Elite alone will know that really it's a very tight board game balanced on a knife edge, and where the sniper is trying to infiltrate plays a huge part of the gameplay. So the first map we have is actually a Norman village with wide open spaces where the sniper can freely traverse between outhouses, have clear lines of sight, eliminate their enemies, and really have a good feel for running around and enjoying the game. But unfortunately, the defenders also have brand new armored vehicles that they can use to move and scout, catch up to the sniper, quickly react and move around, and basically scout him out in ways they've never been able to do before. Very different feeling to the submarine pens and launch facilities, the kind of maps we've seen before. As well as that, we have a second new map in Operation Kraken, which is our super carrier. If the sniper is able to successfully find plans for it, they'll find a 3-deck, multi-layered super battleship, basically, where the sniper will have to infiltrate through air ducts, up and down ladders, navigating a tight, claustrophobic feeling map where the defender can lock doors and hem them in, and the sniper will have to use explosive to knock down reinforced walls, make their way to the objectives, and quickly scurry around in a situation where if they get caught for just a second, it could be game over. So 2 brand new maps with 2 very different feelings in Operation Kraken.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's been a while since I played Sniper Elite, but the idea of a wide open space, like a whole, completely changes the way you have to play the game. And then as far as the modules go, what are the modules?
So inside both Operation Kraken and Escalation, you're going to get various loadout cards that you can freely mix and match. But specifically for this campaign, we've designed a new small box modular expansion called Escalation, where all the content inside is designed to be used with any of the Sniper Elite materials. So if you have the base game, the original Eagle's Nest expansion, or I think the Operation Kraken expansion, you can mix and match them freely, and Escalation adds to that. So you'll find in there a good boy miniature, a new dog upgrade for the sniper, where he can scurry around and distract the enemies. You can also find a sniper hunter, specifically for the defenders, who's armored and very good at hunting down the sniper, along with a host of very versatile, overpowered, map-unique specific modules that you can use to tailor your games and make them very, very exciting. So we've got one big box with 2 maps of Operation Kraken, and then that flexible expansion with Escalation.
Perfect. And then I guess on a personal note, we'll end on a personal note with what's your favorite module?
So I love playing as the sniper, totally. The defenders have some great modules with flares and new types of ways to track the sniper, which is great, but I must admit I have a place in my heart for the good boy. Having that hidden map where you're tracking your movement and you're able to mark the dog going off in a separate direction, trying to make some noise to distract the defenders from where you are, feels really good and adds to the tension, but it makes my heart palpitate when I think they're going to find the dog, which always makes me a bit sad. But it's good fun to play.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Well, there's a lot of pet owners out there. I'm sure there'll be a very popular module with a lot of people. Before we end, any last things you want to say?
Yeah, we do have one little secret thing we're really hoping to get onto the campaign as well. It's something that's been kind of highly requested by some of our biggest fans. We're going to be adding in an optional add-on during the campaign so you can have your own sniper screen. It's something with a game that's so based on hidden movement, the players love to kind of get involved and really keep track of everything that's going on. And we're looking at designing a lovely, lovely kind of GM screen kind of look, but with custom slots for you to hold all of your loadout cards, all of your equipment, and your objectives as the sniper, so you can keep all your information secret. So keep an eye out for that appearing during the campaign as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Oz, and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you.
New maps and new modules should be enough to keep the average Sniper Elite fan busy, although maybe if you're a dog person, it's the reason you're getting this expansion and game in the first place. Our next campaign takes a classic game and makes it digital. Baked Games is taking Neuroshima Hex, a game that feels like a perfect fit for digital implementations, and they're making a digital implementation. Neuroshima Hex has been around for a very long time. It's from Portal Games, and it's a game that both managed to capture the abstract and yet the thematic at the same time, as players place their piece onto a little grid, trying to perfectly position both the pieces and the timing of it all in order to bring victory to their faction. Baked Games is taking that game, giving you a digital implementation of it, and if you're interested in that or anything about what the campaign is, what they're going to be doing, or any of the early access, make sure to check out the campaign. Our next campaign is Trismegistus 2nd Edition from Board and Dice. This is a reimagining of the original, with streamlined mechanics that aim to make the game more approachable while not really losing out on any of the complexity. But that's not all, it's also a complete re-theme, stepping away from the medieval setting to an alternative Victorian timeline, and there's a whole lot of things going on in this campaign, from premium components, to an expansion, the Familiars, to a roll and write game, a different one than the original roll and write, a physical roll and write game that's going to be included in all pledges, so make sure to go ahead and follow the campaign to learn more about any of those things, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on in this campaign. If you're a miniature gamer, this next campaign should capture your interest. Coming to you from Snot Goblin Gaming, these are Hivemind modular hex trays. As the name might imply, these are movement trays that are modular, can fit any size, any shape. It can also adapt to mixed shapes, so you have different bases of different sizes. You can also link that together. And they all do, as I just said, they all link together, and there's spacers as well. So hopefully I'm doing this justice, but they're about as modular in every way, shape, and form that you can expect from a modular movement tray system. There's also going to be magnetized bases in case you're not already doing that yourself, and that's really all the stuff that I need to say. I'll let the graphics do the work for you, or if you want to learn more, make sure to go to the campaign page and check it out there. From there, we have the Isofarian Guard Veilward. The Isofarian Guard is one of the most immersive tabletop experiences I have ever had, and they are back with Veilward, continuing the series. Let's talk to Eric from Sky Kingdom Games and find out what the expansion has in store for you. So Eric, you've already done a little bit of a press announcement, and by the way, if you're watching this, make sure to go ahead and check out the YouTube page if you want to see some nice cinematics and then diving into it already. But going off over here, for Isofarian Guard Veilward, I want to dive into, two clarifying aspects of it, just because it's such a massive story-based game. I want to focus on both story and mechanics. And so starting with story, what's the theme, the setting? Where does this take place? When does it take place? What can you tell us about Veilward?
Sure. So the Isofarian Guard Veilward still happens in the country of Isofar, and this is after the events of the main game. But in Veilward, you're going to be controlling 2 new guards and not only exploring Isofar in this expansion, but you're going to be going into the southern country of Falmond. And it's another country in the full world of Telios. In this saga that we're creating. And more importantly, like the name suggests, the guards are going to be going into this new area called the Veil. And that is where a lot of the new mechanics happen in the game as well.
Which I guess is a perfect time to my next question, mechanics. Mechanically speaking, my understanding, and I have a little understanding, I did watch your press release, my understanding so far is that you kind of are building on the same framework as Isofarian Guard, but then adding more. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
That's true. So in Isofarian Guard, the main mechanic was bag building. And in Veilward, you're going to keep that same bag building, but we've got a new deck building mechanic that I think people are really going to love. If you remember, Isofarian Guard is a 1 to 2 player game, and Veilward continues to be that. And each player will have their own deck that they're going to be building throughout the experience. And the unique part about this deck building is that the players are going to be taking turns playing the cards, but they don't take individual turns. So one player can play a couple cards, and the next player can play their card, and then player 1 will go again. So you create these really neat combinations and cascading effects in this expansion.
Now, so Isofarian Guard, the way it's structured is you had your static tableau, and then you had, not static, cards with flipping, and then you use the chips that you were getting from the bag building to power those up. Are you still using chips to power the cards that are now coming from a deck building aspect?
Yes, so you're going to have that same battle phase in Veilward. So you're going to be drawing chips and playing chips and paying for them with your resources on the cards. But then once the guards switch into the Veil, you're going to have these special chips that you're building up in that other old phase and spending those chips to play these new cards. So it's got some similarities, but definitely some new systems as well.
Interesting. And I guess speaking of similarities, in Isofarian Guard, you had a whole bunch of, everything. You had this giant foretell generation, you had a massive storage box, you had a game trays, all these things that went into it. What from that is carrying over to Veilward? Anything being added new?
Yeah, so in Veilward, you're going to be using a lot of the same components from the base game. The guard dashboards, the ability dashboards, the enemy dashboards, and of course the chips and chip bags and such. But in Veilward, it does add another full tray of weighted chips, so 120 new chips, and it's going to add a lot of new cards as well. So you're going to see a lot of the same stuff on the table with a little bit of new as well.
Perfect. And is there a follow gift in the campaign?
There is. Right now, if you follow and back the campaign, you're going to get an awesome miniature of Ray and Luca, the 2 new guards in the game, and that is going to be, it's fully washed, or sun-drop washed, and it's got two characters on the miniature as well. It's a beautiful sculpt.
Perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to the campaign. Good luck with it.
Thanks so much.
Make sure to anchor your Calyx shelves to the wall. The Isofarian Guard is one of the heaviest games I own. But before you do, make sure to also follow the campaign page so you stay up to date along the way. Next up, we have Dale of Merchants with its 10-year anniversary edition. Dale of Merchants is a charming deck building experience in which players are going to be racing to build stalls using a variety of animal companions. Every game you build the market from a different set of decks, adding near endless variety to the experience. And this 10-year anniversary edition is back with new content, revisions to some of the prior decks, changes to the graphic design, a new solo mode, discounted price for it, as well as a big box solution. So whether you're an existing fan or someone new to the series, make sure to check out the campaign and follow along. Our next campaign is coming to you from Dragori Games, and this is Ronin's Revenge. Themed in a fantasy Japanese setting, this is a boss battler, but much more than just a boss battler. It's going to have two phases to the game. The beginning part more of an exploration, a bit of a dungeon crawler as you face off and fight against various enemies, but also do so in ways that will have lasting impacts on that boss battler phase. But then you also have the boss battler part where you'll be facing off against a variety of bosses, and in order to kind of immerse you in that samurai type setting, there's going to be a large focus on dodging and parrying and that kind of approach to the gameplay. Also, of course, being a Dragori games, you can expect to see beautiful art, incredible miniatures, all the things you've come to know and love from Dragori Games. Make sure to check out the campaign page and follow along for more info. From there we have not one, not two, but 3 games coming to you from Failinx. The first of which is Punica, a 2-player asymmetric game that plays in 20 minutes while offering a ton of strategy. Let's talk to Failinx directly about what you can expect from Punica. Yarrow, I've already seen the art for Punica and it looks amazing, but can you tell us a little bit more about how the game plays?
Everyone loves Miko's art, but Punica is a 20-minute asymmetrical 2-player maneuver and bluffing game, which helps you to understand the complexities of Punic Wars and see events unfolding in front of your eyes, both historical and counterfactual events.
How did you approach, you say it's a 20-minute game, how do you approach condensing, I guess, the grand scale of the Punic Wars into a 20-minute experience? Like, what's the level of abstraction, immersion, like, how did you do that?
It's an abstract game, of course. However, it uses historical geography. So geography is one part of the package. But it also has 7 hands. Each player has a hand of 7 cards, which must be managed through the gameplay. And those cards are based on historical advantages and disadvantages of both sides. So Carthage, for example, has Hannibal, but Rome has geography on their side, which must be countered. So it allows you to replay historical encounters, but also has enough room for you to try new strategies.
So you mentioned the asymmetric factions as well as the different cards. Like, so how does that asymmetry come through? Is it through different decks, different cards? Is it through geography, more, less?
All of that combined. The game itself may feel a bit like chess in a way that it's I go, you go. However, for every extraordinary move, it comes at a cost of a card. And from your limited deck. And once your hand is empty, you pick up all the cards except for the one you just played. So it's never a complete toolkit at your disposal. You have to manage that. And one misstep may cost you a zage of your capital. So all this combined makes it a very interesting strategy game that takes very quick and could be repeated a couple of times in the course of one evening.
Gotcha. And then I started with mentioning the Mishra's art, so let's go ahead and end with a question on that too. Very often, Phalanx games do have a slightly more, what's the right word for it, almost a more of a strategic tone, a more serious tone to an extent, while still, of course, being board games and all that. But what made you decide to utilize the Mishra's art for this game? What about that pairing made sense to you?
It's a good observation, I think. We are more like a serious games company. However, with this one, we thought we want to tell that fascinating story to the younger audience. So the package itself contains As I said, a comic book and a booklet for the audience who could then read about the game itself. And we thought, what would be a medium that would help, that would make this package attractive? And Miko's art is expressive, colorful. Everyone loves it, as I said, and it captures the nature of the conflict itself, because the game has a very sharp tempo, and his art is such amazing in terms of those bold lines, colors. So it's a bridge for us between the tension and the tone. A face for an otherwise quite minimalistic, lean and clean game that has that amazing outlook because of Miko's art, which I love. So.
Perfect. Well, I know you have 2 other games in this feast as well, so good luck on all 3 of them.
Thank you.
I mentioned there were 3 games, and the other 2 are Conquest of Paradise and Hood. Conquest of Paradise is back with a 3rd edition of this evergreen game, although this time with updated art and components. And Hood is an asymmetric faction-based game set in the world of Robin Hood, bringing you a ton of interesting things, although the one that has me the most intrigued is that every time you engage in combat, you can choose between a luck-driven or deterministic approach. Whichever one of these you're interested in, Failinx is doing their best to make sure that there's something for everyone. Our next campaign is Mesopotamia, brought to you by MeeplePug, the people who brought you Dark Blood. Mesopotamia is a 4X game set in Mesopotamia. Players will play through all the various X's as the game ramps up quickly as players acquire and build out all their technologies. The game has a huge focus on events. Events are going to be a core aspect of the game as players interact with and engage with these different things that are happening that will give opportunities to the players who discover them, as well as changing the landscape and opening up opportunities for all the other players on the board. Past the gameplay mechanics, there's also going to be deluxe components, dual layer player boards, slaughter player boards, wooden upgrade, miniatures, all of that and more. So make sure to check out the campaign page to follow along. Next up, we have a new revised edition of Black Rose Wars. Coming off of the success of Black Rose Wars Rebirth, Ludus Magnus Studios is reimagining everything about the original game. There's going to be new miniatures, updated rules, improved balance, updated graphic design, as well as a new solo mode, and all of it is going to be completely compatible with the entire line. There's also going to be an upgrade pack, as well as an entirely new stretch goal box, as well as a follower gift on the campaign, which, as you know, is your cue to go ahead and check out all those links below. Our next campaign is Paperback Adventures Volume 2. Fowers Games is known for a ton of word-based games, and easily my favorite from them is Paperback Adventures. So let's talk to Tim directly about what you can expect to see in Volume 2. Thanks for joining us, Tim. When it comes to Paperback Adventures Volume 2, can you tell us a little bit about what's new to this? Like, for people who are familiar with Paperback Adventures, who've gotten the first one, or honestly for new backers as well, what's new to this campaign past everything you've already done?
We're bringing in a new character. We're bringing in a multiplayer for up to 4 players, and we're bringing a big box to store everything in.
And for the new character, like having played Paperback Adventures myself, all the characters come with drastically different themes, as well as mechanics that really make them stand out as strongly asymmetric. Can you tell us a little bit about this new character?
Yeah, Iron Knee is this martial artist who has stances, who has combos, and all these things themed around kung fu fighting. And you're looking for, like, for a combo, you're actually looking for a sequence of letters in your word. So there's a puzzle element. It's not just flavor. It actually makes the puzzle more interesting, more complex.
Gotcha. And then as far as multiplayer, I mean, the entire pitch of Paperback Adventures initially was this, like, strong solo game based off of the original Paperback, and then you have the 2-player mode as well. But, like, what drove the decision to bring full multiplayer to the experience?
Well, we wanted we want more people, more fun. But it was also just we found some really unique ways to do enemies that are specifically multiplayer only. Like because it's a multi-universe kind of thing, you're fighting an alien mothership, and then you're fighting a multi-headed Hydra, and then you're fighting a basketball team. Like you get to do these things that are multiplayer focused kind of puzzles and enemies that you're working with.
And it's still fully cooperative, right? There's no competitive?
Yeah, fully cooperative.
Cool. And then lastly, as far as I know, for those who may not be familiar, Paperback Adventures also has a digital implementation. You can get it on Steam, play it on Steam if you want that. If you just want to play it digitally for any reason. So as far as the digital version of the game goes, what from this new content is being ported over there eventually?
Yeah, so the new character Irony is getting moved into the digital content as well. So with that, we're going to launch a 1.0 of Paperback Adventures digital on Steam.
Perfect. Well, very excited for the campaign. Paperback Adventures has been incredibly well received. It's a very solid game, and good luck with the campaign.
Thanks so much.
Completely unrelated to Paperback Adventures, I figured I'd give a little shout out to Fowers Games. Make sure to check out Peggy's Farm on Steam. There's a free demo of this completely unique take on a Stardew Valley type of gameplay. Also, follow Paperback Adventures and all of that as well while you're here. And with that, another feast is done. Over 20 projects is getting a little insane. Make sure to check out the feast page. Make sure to go ahead and follow all of the projects that you're interested in. Many of them have follower gifts, including some of which we haven't talked about in this video. Also, while I have you here, what are your thoughts on the whole new endgame feature? You know, that little timer that keeps resetting to 10 minutes every time someone backs in the last few minutes of a campaign? It seems kind of fun, but this is the first feast event we've had since releasing that, so I am curious on your thoughts. But either way, I won't hold you here any longer. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another feast event. And obviously, stay safe out there, stay healthy, and whatever you do, keep on playing games.